Test, test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2. Waiting for the stream to come online. Everything's looking good. Kind of a delay. Let's see if we have audio. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2. It looks okay. Waiting for the stream to come online. There's like a delay. The delay is really bad too. Let me see. It looks like the sound is too delayed, so let me see if I can fix that. Advanced audio properties. The delay for the built-in is at 300. It's set to 1/3 of a second right now. Let's start 56 milliseconds. Alright, so now it's 150. Hopefully this is better. Anyway, what's up? This is Dave. I'm going to start a morning co-working stream. I'll just monitor the sound here for a little bit. And just planning on trying to get some work done. What's up? This is Dave. I'm going to start a morning co-working stream. Turn the sound down on this a little bit. Okay, so... now the delay is worse. The delay does look worse. I know, so I should share my screen. So I'm looking at this, trying to see if there. Yeah, it's totally worse. I think the delay needs to be increased. Let's try making it 450. Oh, what did I just do? Audio actually should be like 100%. I'm setting the sync delay to 450 now. Maybe that will fix it. What? I don't know, I'm getting delayed with things. So what am I working on today? I am working on my monthly review for Groundhog Day resolutions. And also to take some notes on how app signing works with macOS. And then I'll try to stream from the Oculus Rift. I only have an hour before I need to leave, so I will set the timer here. Hey Siri. Set timer for 1 hour.
Okay, your timer is set for 1 hour.
So I got an hour to work on this stuff. So I've told people in the co-working chat room that I am starting this stuff. Okay. Should put this in link share. Streaming 11 a.m. to noon. East Coast time. HTTPS. I can't type. There's a.com live. I should really update this slate I have here. It could be updated. Anyway. Let's see what we're going to do. And work doing, I'm going to... I already made my list. I can't do car registration today, but let's start with the macOS code signing. But first, a taste of the PC streaming, because I don't really want to start work. So this is the PC. This is running the Oculus right now. So here is the Oculus right here. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to take off my hat. You can see how bald I am, although I could just touch the inside of this, and that will trigger the window. So let's see. Actually, I could do this. This might be funny. So if I go full screen like that, oh, you can still see my bald head. All right, I guess there's no way around it. Ugh. Bald, bald, bald. So I'm not wearing glasses, right? Oops. So alright, so theoretically you can see what I'm seeing in here. Of course I can't see the screen. Yeah, so the screen here on the left is what I'm looking at. And there's a hole in the bottom of this thing, so I can kind of go like this and see stuff. But you can see that I'm trying to just kind of get a hold of this controller. Hard to see. Okay, so I've got, these are backwards. Are these backwards? I think these are backwards. Yes, I'm holding the wrong one with the wrong one. It would be nice when they add front cameras to these things so you can actually see what you're doing. So now, what am I looking at? I guess you can't see the, oh you can. So this grid that up here is like when I'm too close to the edge of the playable space. So this is my home, and you can see what I'm seeing. And so it just like, I can't really convey how cool this is. I mean, because like it just looks like graphics on the screen over there, but what I'm seeing as I'm turning, I feel like I'm in the space. Like eventually I forget about I forget about there's kind of an edge around the screen or the goggles, but when you're in the space, you kind of forget about that. And I just hit my hand on something. This is like a kind of a constrained space I'm working in. One interesting thing with the movement of this is that there's a couple of different ways to move. Right now, this is the comfort mode of moving, and what this means is like you just jump from place to place. Like this is a problem I think that they had to solve in VR, because if you do slow movement, it's really disorienting. You know, it gives me a headache. This is my avatar place where I can see my avatar, and I believe, oops, a little bit too far. This takes a while to get used to. So I'm going to go here, and if I turn around, I can pick up this book, I guess. Put that over here. I can pick up this thing, and I can shoot those things. I don't know if the sound is coming through or not. I don't think I have it going out through the U-tap. But it's shooting stuff. Always fun. And also if I stand up, I can actually move around like this. Yeah, there is a limited space. I don't want to bump into anything, so I'm actually just using the controls here to do that. So this is the home for the Oculus. There's actually a way of, let's see, if I do this, then I get this Oculus control thing. I can see a virtual desktop. Oops, or I did the wrong thing. Ah, where am I? I'm in the store now. Gun Club VR, what's that? I like guns. Shooting things. Those look ridiculous. It's an Oculus refund policy. Take the arsenal of the world's most powerful weaponry. Of course, this is going to be popular. Some of the training stuff might be interesting. I don't know. What's this? It's on sale for 50% off, huh? Sale ends in 15 hours. You know, there's some free things I've gotten too. If I go to my library, how do I do that? Store. Here's the dingus. I wanted to go here, the virtual desktop. This actually shows me what's on my screen. And so this is my actual desktop that I'm looking at, and I can actually look at select windows and stuff. So unfortunately, this isn't full screen. There's a way to make this look more full screen, but this is just default. You can get an idea though of what I'm looking at. It would be nice if there was some sort of front camera on this so I could overlay things, but my experience so far with the VR is that yeah, I forgot what it is. That it is. I think this is totally worth getting into. So I can imagine putting some more effort into just kind of seeing how this works, because this is fascinating, this sort of telepresence thing. And this is the sort of thing I always liked about games in the first place. The idea that you can be taken to different places. So, and then have like few different experiences. So I don't know if that actually worked, but hopefully it did. I don't know. I don't know if anyone saw anything. It was probably out of the frame this entire time. That's too bad. Next time I'll know better to fix that. No, maybe I was still in the frame. I was like probably around here. Okay. All right. So now it's been how much time has elapsed? What was on my list of things to do? Sort of easing into the day here. Let me see if the stream is back in sync. It's a little bit better, 450 milliseconds. Kind of long. I don't know why it's taking so long. 20% CPU, 13 dropped frames. I don't know what's causing the frame drops. But let's see, we'll do some work. And what I want to do is work on my let's work on the code signing stuff because I want to be reviewing that. So for that, I need to log into my GitLab account and also consult my notes. So first, let's log into GitLab over here. I'll just make sure it's logging me in correctly. And I'll switch screens over. What's GitLab serverless? So I don't know what that is. Could be cool. Let's sign in here. It's taking its own sweet time. And let me switch out of this. And I'm waiting for it to sign in. I should just remember me. Oh, I didn't check the thingy. Sign in, damn it. Two-factor. Okay. So now we're in. And I had set, this is our project. And there's a wiki somewhere here. I need to update my picture there. The code signing macOS Electron apps. This is the document I was working on. And let's see, let me reread this. While developing a meme requires a Node.js environment, it is ultimately distributed to end users as a standalone macOS application. So no additional technical knowledge is required to install it, as was the case for net creating. That's a terrible sentence, so I ought to rewrite that, but what I'm looking to do is capture the technical details. Creating the application, So essentially what I'm doing is using this thing called Gatekeeper, which is the thing on the Mac that prevents you from running bad software. It essentially checks to make sure that the developer is registered with Apple. If the user isn't registered with Apple, Gatekeeper throws up this warning, says, "Warning! This is not a approved app from the Mac Store, or a recognized developer." So it doesn't let you run the application. It only works once, but it locks. It prevents people from installing and running apps from like unknown people. Which means you had to pay Apple $99 to make that thing go away a year. And I guess that's the cost of security these days. What can you do? And then also apps are sandboxed now, meaning that they're not allowed full access to their system unless it's been also authenticated. And so this is something I've had to learn to do. I was hoping that I would get this done in about 2 minutes about 3 weeks ago, but I've had to go down this rabbit hole of learning how to do this. And I'm pretty slow at learning these kind of things. And so I went all the way back to the beginning to figure out, what is it trying to say? Because the documentation is actually pretty terrible. And I'm putting together my own notes here for the rest of the team. So let me see. Purpose of the code sign refers to Apple's pursuit for digitally signing an application for gatekeeper and sandbox. Grammatically not quite right, but subsystem checks where the app has been signed by a known developer that Apple's registers. If otherwise blocks the app from running, displaying dialogue saying the app is untrusted. Apple uses X509 public key infrastructure to create and verify trusted certificates that are issued from Apple's They should be own. Start editing this. I also want to keep track of this somehow. I'm thinking about making a suite of tools to, like my sort of productivity streamer tools that will show timers and have the lists of things that I'm doing. I've been looking at something called Streamlabs, which is very popular with streamers on Twitch. But it's for people like, talking to subscribers, not actually doing work. So I want work tools that do this. There's a few people can ask about that. Purposes, it's gatekeeper and sandbox. From own. I should make a link to this. Public key infrastructure. Create / verify. I should reorder this. For us, or we use Apple's developer portal. Apple's online developer portal can be used to create trusted certificates from that macOS are used to sign an application. Apple uses certificates. Let's see, X creates from its own certificate only Apple's certificates issued from are recognized by gatekeeper. You can create any X509 certificate from any. Now, so you must have a paid Apple developer account. Team agent. Account owner. not a member, to create them. That's important. Certificates contain identity information of the public key. An X509 certificate contains. So here I'm trying to make a useful reference. This is identity information. The public key of the subject. Including subject, which is the entity that is being that the certificate is representing as being trustworthy. The public key to describe information in the certificate. Thus ensuring it has not been modified. On the concept. I think that's other meta information. Various the format of the certificate. Algorithms used to decrypt the public key. Decrypt the public key. Data. Actually, I'm not sure how that. Not sure yet how this can vary. Let's do a time check. Time check. 11:18. About 15 minutes into this session. Oh, there's 2 people watching. Hello, people. How are you doing? Certificates are used to create a digital signature. Or let's see, for the purposes of gatekeeper, an application must be signed with a digital signature. This digital signature is specific for the app bundle. Which comprises all runnable code. This can include app bundle, probably is something that needs to be defined. Bundle structures. Because I don't know how useful this an app digital signature contains it's called a code signature and contains, I believe it has a seal. Let's see, a seal. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I have notes on this someplace. Let's see, go KM.
Getting KMSSG.
It's loading. KMSSG is my knowledge management directory structure. I see. Let's close this. Can I put this into a kind of single side-by-side mode? Actually, I'll need this later also for just running. Why can't I close this? Command Z. That's strange. It has the what's the word wrap again? I thought it was Command Shift Z. Oh, it's only Command Z. No, that's not right. That's Option Z. And let's get rid of this sidebar. Let's resize that. Actually, I keep forgetting I can do this. Oops. How much am I going to collapse this? And that works. Alright, so I wish I didn't have this thing there. And let's load the file I want, which is, I think it's called this document. That's where I've been keeping all my notes on code signing. Close this file folder. Let's see. Code signing, what's in the signature? This is the actual how to do it. Here's the code signature. It consists of a seal, an encrypted seal, which contains a digest of checksums for the runnable code in the bundle. A digital signature which is the cert, right? Of the for the developer. The code requirements also which this is another, is used to decrypt I don't think this is quite right. Is that right? Or is this digital signature actually a certificate? This is where I get confused about it, because like they're throwing all this language around, but they're not very specific about, is it a type of this or is it a type of this? And then all these things contain each other too, which is a certificate containing, as described. Importantly, it contains the public key that can be used to decrypt the seal. A set of code requirements which is Apple's term for validation tests. That the app bundle needs to pass to be considered secure. By Gatekeeper. The way Gatekeeper will conduct its validation. Code requirements are written in a language as entitlements. I'm not sure I have this right. So questions, let's just add them here. Is a digital signature the same as a certificate? In the code signature? To sign the process looks like this. Xcode provides a utility called, oops, what did I just do? Hit the tab key. Ugh, spoofs. Because command line code sign. That has a syntax as follows. Is used to write, verify, and display code signatures for an app bundle. The syntax looks like this. Identity. A string use. Is a string selector used to select which certificate in the macOS user keychain to use to sign the code. Identifier is a string used to set the unique identifier in the code signature. Every app must have a unique identifier. And the code sign. Code sign will infer one from the app bundle itself. If this string is not provided. How does this look? I'm going to shift this into what is this? Requirements. Is it a path? Specifies path to the code requirement files. source files, which are in the CSR. What's that what it's called? Code requirements or rules that macOS uses. And there's a language for this. What was it called again? Thought I took notes on this. Code signing requirement language. There is another Xcode utility called CSREC. Can be used to manipulate these. I'll move this question over to this document. So theoretically, let's save my progress here. Flush out definitions. I don't think. Oh, that's weird. Let's edit that again. That's not fitting on one page, which is terrible. It's 11:37. I should probably, once I finish this last edit, this should be the signer's identity. Let's call it the signer. Which represents you. And your macOS keychain to use for signing. Code signing requirement. Will that fit now? That looks pretty good. Does it make sense to other people? No idea. At least I think it's accurate. I'm like all really fussy about naming things. Identity. Work on the theory. I should say something about amp bundles here. What was that? Amp bundle. When you double click an app icon in the Finder to run it, you are clicking on the app bundle. This code signature is added to the app bundle. Essentially, code sign runs the scans the app, creates the code signature, then attaches it to the bundle. For gatekeeper to use. Which is then attached to the bundle. Bundle in the process at the end. Scan creates the code signature, then attaches .11:44, 15 minutes to go. Well, we've knocked down, number 3, we've knocked down 3 and 2. Last 15 minutes on GHDR review. I think I've gone to a good place with this. Make a note of this. Then you have some good examples of what these CS requirements are. There's also the signature where you get these things. Right, so let me see. Let me go freelance.
Getting timesheet.
Where's my timesheet? Where? Why is it so slow? Here's what, Wednesday? Making slow progress on this. Well, yeah, taking my time with this. So I would say I did this from about, what, 11, 15? Right, notes on current understanding, part 2. Security updates. Alright, back to Groundhog Day resolutions. Oh, someone's saying something. How do I access the stream? Yep. Yeah. I guess with people so I know if EL George and Leanne are watching. If you are, hello. Glad you could join us. Oops, what was that? There are 4 people watching. That's kind of exciting. Now I'm all nervous. So the last thing I'm going to do is the Groundhog Day resolution stuff. I've written some clarifying stuff for the code signing, which is good. I don't think I need to save that, but let's go back to what else? Concepts. What's this? Title. Don't need that. These are the writing I was doing for updating the marketing language on my Amazon stuff. Oops. Save. And now I need to load Groundhog Day resolution stuff, which should be in there. Actually, did they already commit it? Challenges, GHDR. Do I not have the monthly yet? Is it gone? I thought I wrote notes on this yesterday. What did I do with them? Oh, I think I wrote them in my, over here. Yeah, so that was this plan yesterday. So let me make a duplicate of the last review, which is the November one. And let's rename this. I said let's rename this. This should be called 2018 12/12 December. Let's get rid of these. That's the first one. We want the last few of them, so that would be what? $90. How many were there? There's 4 of them. 91, 92, 93. 90, 91, 92, 93, 94. I want to largely use this structure. Summary of month. Emotional. Highlights. Hindsight. Takeaways. Then more. Segue. More. Read last month's goals. Hindsight. Insights. Expanded. View of past goals. The past, not goals. Month's focus. And looking at this to see, I accepted I'm easily distracted. Last time I accepted I'm distracted and not as performant as I wished. Last time, but I still can do quality work. I need easy to recall focus, assistant tools, and good comrades. The focus says we're from Feb to working group 1. Last time, set maximum work per week to 15 hours rather than specify minimum. So I wouldn't feel trapped by work. Focuses? Foci. And then so this is I'll just leave this in and I'll refill these later. So evaluation of supporting goals. I'll rewrite that. Under support monitoring, major meta assessments. Am I doing good things? I can just follow the rest of this. I think this is the way it's going to work. Hopefully this goes pretty well. But I think I gotta do some sort of closeout. So I should have all the information I need. Now I just need to look at these various reviews. I can look through my data. And rereading this, get a sense of how well things went. And this was a B plus week. This is another B plus week. This is an A week. This is a B week. Not bad. Yeah, that's not bad. But I had to actually read through these and see. A B plus week is pretty damn good. You know, the big drag was just this code citing BS. I suspect I could be doing more hours on it, but I have all these other things I have to do for this month. My own business, self-care, social responsibilities, family responsibilities. I don't know how people handle it all. There's like so many things to do. We've got 4 minutes left, so I will close this out with some rambly discussion on this very topic. Let me see. First, let me close some of these things out. Let's save this document. So I'll probably write this when I get home. Or I'll go to a coffee shop someplace and work on that. Hopefully I can find my scarf. I think I've lost my favorite scarf. Hopefully I left it at the electrolysis office. It's a scarf that has all the colors that I'm wearing right now, which is, it has a little bit of green and teal in it, which is nice. But I guess this is okay. So, and in closing, well, let me see. What was I saying I was going to do? Okay, I guess we finished. Finished a bit of GHDR review. Getting ready to leave. My appointment is 90 minutes from now. I should have plenty of time to get down there, like, without rushing. Buy some gas. You know, like, I didn't think that only working an hour on this stuff would be satisfying, but I feel like I've been making some momentum on it. I was talking to my house guest. Oops, there's the timer. Stop. Hey Siri, set timer for 5 minutes. Cause I need to get out of here. Yeah, I was talking to my house guest, and he had come back from work, like really exhausted from a really long day, and he's been studying to do to take some sort of test for SQL or Microsoft's version of SQL, Transact SQL. Because this is a credential that would help him get jobs. So he's just started this process, but he's doesn't have a computer programming background, so a lot of these things are just brand new and filled with weird terms. You know, the books that he's looked at are pretty typical technical books in which, you know, they are bad. You need to have quite a lot of knowledge. If anything, like these technical books seem to be more of what is it? How could you describe it? They're more like rough notes. They're not very well structured. They don't introduce concepts or group them in any kind of recognizable hierarchy. The very worst of them are just anecdotes that they tell. Oh, to do this, you do this. Oh, but don't forget about doing that, because otherwise this will happen. And you have no idea what they're talking about because they haven't defined what these terms are. And these are books that are supposed to teach you this stuff. I don't understand how this even happens. And I think people who are not careful about this, they just write stuff down, and if it makes sense to them, then they think they're done. Yeah, but it's terrible. So anyway, to learn something, if you're in the state of learning something new concepts, new terminology, like I've been doing with this macOS code signing BS, it takes quite a lot of energy to just try to figure out what the hell they're talking about. You gotta look up all this stuff. At least you can do that now with the internet. In the olden days, when you just had one book, and there was like 3 of them available, but 2 of them were out of print, and you had to go through your local bookstore to order them if you could even find it pre-internet. But now you can look stuff up and then kind of piece together like this puzzle, what the hell they're talking about. So for my house guest, he has a piece together what this is, but he has no foundation of for things, and he doesn't know yet just how terrible this documentation is. Like he's like me in that I look at a book that some expert has written, and I expect the expert to know what they're talking about, and they do know what they're talking about, but I expect them to also be able to explain it to me, not just show me that they know what they're talking about and then not explain themselves, which is the worst crime that I think a teacher can commit as far as knowledge transfer goes. Anyway, long story short, I told him, like, if you don't have the mental energy to learn a bunch of new things after a long day of work, reviewing your notes is not a bad way to just put some time into it. I just spent like 15 minutes reviewing my notes, and I'm feeling like, okay, I've consolidated my thinking and understanding of this a little bit better. Therefore, my grasp of the material is a little stronger. It gives me a little bit more confidence. So when I go back into this later, tomorrow maybe, I'll be in a place where, okay, that makes sense to me today. So that's my takeaway for the day. One last thing is, like, it occurred to me that the podcast that I can do, I've been trying to think of like a podcast to replace the one that I used to do with my friend Sid. It was like just haven't been able to schedule them for the past 8 and 9 months. So I'm thinking that I should have a side podcast to do, but I can't think of what it would be about. And I think it just might be about co-working. I mean, I'm doing these streams just about co-working and just talking about working and stuff. Why not have a co-working podcast? Invite some people to talk about co-working, or I guess this would be dependent on being able to find guests to talk to about it, and just to share some of the the search for co-working. I think worst case it could be just me muttering about stuff, but I guess that's what these live streams could be for too. Anyway, that's what's on my mind right now. I need to get on the road. So thanks for watching. Hope you're having a good day. And I don't know when I'll stream next, but you can check out the archives if you need some company while you're working on stuff. Have a good one. See you later. Wink.